Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Ask an Educator. Sofia Speaks, and this is season 3. Listen, I am so excited to be back in the studio with you all. It has been a nice little break between season 2 and 3, but we're ready to hit the ground running. I will be your guest host, Sofia Gonzalez, otherwise known as Mrs. G. Sofia Speaks. Listen, we've got such an incredible series lined up. I am so excited to get the story going, get the situation going, get the conversation going. And this couple of seasons, well, these couple of episodes rather, I always like to open with a bit of a central theme. And so the next 2 consecutive episodes, I am going to be highlighting early career teachers in the K through 12 space because studies show and prove that the first 5 years are the most formative years for any educator. And oftentimes that's where the burnout comes, and that's where teachers begin to think about, hey, should I stay here or not? And so my first guest of season 3 is actually a new teacher that I met in Kansas City. And I'm so excited to tell you about that in their all school convocation. So I literally hung out with like his entire school community. I definitely want to bring to the stage my new friend, Daniel Garcia-Roman, on over from Kansas City. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, Sophia. I'm feeling blessed, and I'm gonna help you out with the energy. I'm really excited. I'm glad how you said you hung out with my skill community because that's what it is. Um,
Yes.
it's a village and familia, and yeah.
Yes, nosotros somos familia, exactamente. Listen, I'm just so excited to get the conversation going. Man, it's been a little bit of a break between season 2 and season 3 for me. And so let's just get the party started, right? Tell us a little bit about yourself. It looks like you're still in your classroom. So you're just like right in your element. Tell us where you come from, a little bit about yourself, your cultural landscape, and who your people are.
Ooh, okay. So, yep, my name is Daniel Garcia-Roman. I'm my parents are immigrants from Zacatecas, Mexico, and I love to start off saying that because it's recognizing their sacrifices of terms of like the landscape they left behind
Mm,
and everything that comes with it from their family and culture. And I'm really that's been on my mind this whole week. Just feeling blessed, and like I feel very blessed in that my family has been able to keep on like our culture. So like some backstory, both of my parents grew up in neighboring ranches, so it's
mm,
they didn't have to like necessarily mix two different um, parts of Mexico. They're both of the same cloth. Um, y- so there's two and two, two older boys, and then two younger sisters I have. Y I'm the first one to be had been born in the United States, meaning um, my older brother is a DACA recipient, and
mm,
um, I had no idea what that is until I was in college, and my brother was some years um, already graduate from high school. And once I was getting like this higher education, I started to see, okay, these are the barriers he had to go through that I was really
mm.
um, blind to just in the grind of everyday life.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm a product of KCPS, public schooling, and very diverse background. Like, but we can get into that. You know how being diverse doesn't always mean like you see other people. Like
Mm,
some schools can be very diverse, right? But still liking that connection.
mm,
Um, but I had a good range of friends that um, I kind of want to get back to, at my high school level, especially. I was around a lot of different cultures, and right now I'm at a school that is dominantly Latino.
Okay.
Y, um, it feels home, but I don't want to get too comfortable. I don't know if you could relate to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about your family, right? And how they're coming from the ranchos de Mexico. Mi papá es de Monterrey, Mexico. And whenever I hear, guests that come on and talk about Mexico, it literally just like makes my heart burst because I have this like secret dream that I'm going to be manifesting. I want to go to Mexico one day and I really want to retrace back my roots. That's a whole other podcast on like leading from your identity and really tapping into that cultural power. But nevertheless, so it sounds like you and your siblings, right? Or is it just you and your brother?
Of In regards to what, Sophia?
So you are first gen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
so yeah, that's a whole story in and of itself. Go ahead.
yeah, and I've definitely been the what I call the Luke Skywalker effect. I've been dealing with that and teaching at the high school level, where the oldest kid or the first one in pursuit of college and that whole process, and being the first one to go to college and get these achievements, um, has paved the way for in lifetime to the next sister after me,
Mm.
and but yeah, after me, everyone else is first gen as well.
And so talk to us then. Who do we credit for your teaching journey and your journey to classroom life? Did you always knew that you wanted to be a teacher or what were your thoughts?
Mm. I I love that question, and I don't at the same time, because um, like those seeds were planted in you, like to serve others. Um, and for me, it's that, but also a lot more, and like being getting affirmations from other educators and other people who have experience in life, that there's truth in you. I like the head on your shoulders, and especially my high school teachers. My high school art teacher and English teacher, all my teachers, I really love them because I felt seen,
Love
and
it.
um, always been a lifelong learner, and knowing when you're kind of that's what, like, never stopping to read and learn. Um, Gosh,
Mm.
I need to read more. Pero like in high school, everything's so fresh, whether it's biology and English, and then for
Mhm.
me in the middle was the arts.
Love it.
For, I don't know if there's anyone here who knows me, but
Well,
uh,
I got somebody in the chat. Don't mean to
oh,
interrupt
oh,
you, but it's a real nice comment. Daniel, speak back to us. Drive home. Go ahead, boy.
dang! Shout out to Nabil, man. That's
Okay. Tell us about
Yeah,
your friend. Hey, thank you for joining.
yeah. Me and Nabil go back to community college, and then we transferred at the same time to the university level. Um, he's an awesome person. Um,
All right. Well, he's online. He's wanting us to give him some wisdom, wanting us to give him some inspiration on that ride home. And so we need to deliver. Well, I'm glad that your teachers were such an inspiration to you and they really kind of like started cultivating that love for learning and reading. It's kind of like what you're alluding to, right? Is there anyone in particular you could credit?
mm, yes, my high school English teacher, Miss um, Miss Wynn.
Okay.
She went above and beyond, and being present for her students and pushed them was very real. Like there's something about her that she had like this strong zest to her that
Love it.
she had a bigger picture that um I'm gonna give if you're one of my kids, you're gonna latch onto that as she's gonna latch onto you. So it's almost like we feel how much energy she's bringing to this profession, and so I think what that does, whether you see her in the hallways or like I just remember not having her yet and wanting to have her so much. That's how much energy
Mm,
the kids wanted to be in her sphere of influence, and it was breathtaking. And looking back, um, I hope I made an impact to her as a student. So,
I love that. And I'm sure you were just as memorable. And that's what it takes for us as teachers to blow up our classroom with life and excitement and engagement. Something that I had shared with you all in the also convocation when I was hanging out with you all back in the summer is that idea of flipping the table, right? I don't
mm,
know if you remember my illustration where I was flipping tables up there and just really using your sphere of influence to make a difference, right? And to disrupt stuff. And a lot of that is disrupt the status quo of what teaching and learning can be. Come on, somebody, and really create memorable experiences for our students that they can look back on and be like, yo, man, like Mr. Roman's English class or art class, was the bomb. And I just really want to go back and either say thank you or some of our students, which this is what we want, enter the teaching journey as a result of some of the moments that they've had with us in the classroom. You've got some more love coming in to the chat. Okay, so we've got Aaliyah here too. Did I say wrong?
yeah,
Aaliyah,
Aaliyah, sister
Aaliyah.
to Daniel, she was in the same cohort as me when we graduated high school. So
Nice. Look at you. You got
yeah.
friends in here ready to support you. But I want to go a little bit deeper here and I want to talk about impact. I want to talk about, see, as a male and as a male Latino educator, you're in high demand. Um, Across the US, studies have shown and proved that there is a low amount of Latino male educators, specifically in the K through 12 space. There was this article that I was reading in Ed Week that stated, in fact, only 9% of public school teachers are Hispanic, and about 2% are Hispanic men, despite the fact that Hispanic students are the fastest growing population in our country, making up a quarter of K through 12 students. What is your reaction to that as a male educator?
Um, first of all, I'm very happy when you said you're in demand. It made me feel like super special. Like, oh shoot, I'm in demand.
That's
Um,
right.
uh, it, I think it provides like an internal discussion for both whatever gender is in front of me of like what role can someone be in, because s- society and our students and even our culture might assume and feel like this is the way. These are the kind of jobs you can go into, the kind of roles, the emotional palette you can have to the in your day to day life.
Mhm.
And I think I see it me being my authentic self allows students um, to go off of that, and in return find something that they're able to um, feel at home with, whether it's um, talking like or kids that just love to talk, present, or
Right.
those who observe, or the students that are like to kind of mediate, right? And so there's always some like a role a student can serve, and it's as a teacher, just kind of trying to provide symphony to that, with all
Mm,
these human beings in front of us that they're thrown in the classroom with us, and we do something called teaching. Um, it's something I'm very new at, but I'm my reaction to being a Latino male educator is that not necessarily we need more teachers male, but we also need like more young males that are Latino going into professions um, in general.
yes.
You know, like breaking the mold, whether it's
Mm,
um, being a business owner
that's right.
and but being educated. Like I have a student who has his business already as in high school, and I'm like, I'm already asking him questions. What college are you going to? Not necessarily are you going to like. He knows he doesn't have to. With this kind of already system he has to be comfortable.
Mm,
Um, but I want to push the student um, to be at the tables, right? To
love it.
be educated and help other people also see how they could put themselves in positions of influence.
I love that. And obviously, it goes without saying that representation matters, not just in the K through 12 space, but in every space, because we are in a globally diverse society. And so it is very beneficial to have folks in roles that represent the society that we're engaging. And there's something to be said specifically in the classroom about mirrors and windows and sliding glass doors. I mean, the outcomes are crazy out of this world when there are diverse teachers in front of diverse students. And guess who it benefits, Daniel? It benefits everybody.
Hmm.
Diversity benefits everybody, even our non communities of color. It breaks down stereotypes, it breaks down all kinds of misconceptions, it creates mutual understanding. And guess what it also creates? It creates a mirror of possibility. Like I had a student back in 2015, 2016 school year, and this student came back 3 years ago to the school. But guess what she came back as, Daniel? She came back as a teacher.
Mm.
And I primarily, just like you, service primarily Latino students, first gen. And she emailed me, and it was so interesting because we were supposed to be sharing rooms. And she's like, "Hi, Miss Gonzalez. It's Janet Montalvo. I've shared this story before on my podcast, and I even interviewed her on the same podcast." And she's like, "It's me, Janet. I don't know if you remember me, but I'm a first year teacher and we're sharing rooms. But I also wanted you to know that I came into the teaching journey in part because of you, because you were the first Latina teacher that I had seen in so long. And you had all this spunk and all this energy, and it seemed like you really cared about us, even though sometimes we got on your nerves.
Mm.
And I just want you to know that, man, seriously, like that email, like literally made my whole year. And
Mm.
that's the power of representation, right? Where our students can see themselves in positions of power. And like you say, across all sectors. You've got your friend coming chat talk. We need more Latinos to break the traditional mold. Yes, we do. We need males that are of Latino descent to really create mirrors of possibility and opportunity. And it is. It's going to take, some hard work and breaking down a lot of stereotypes and a lot of misconceptions and all of that. But at the end
Yeah,
of the day, man, it just creates so much possibility for our students.
yeah. I think that's the word and or that phrase, endless possibilities of like something I do grapple with is like like am I serving this role of being a protector? And I
Mm,
think now in this conversation, I've I'm reframing it right now to like I find myself being nurturing with my students, but
yes,
also um I I don't know whether it's just because I'm male and also like I guess what I'm trying to say is I protect the space where you can
yes,
nurture yourself. You know, like
yes,
I I'm a meet you halfway to for my students, but like it's y- you being a teacher, it really is amazing when you have students come next semester or the next school year. They're like totally new people, and you know you had a part in that. You know, so
yes.
I came on board as a long term sub in last school year at the school I'm at right now, and it was it was very healing being here just for those 10 weeks that I was last school year.
Okay.
Um, because I just knew this is the place where I'm needed right now, and
Mm,
life happens, and I ended up being at this school where honestly, if I knew about this little secret being Guadalupe Centers, um,
shout out.
I would have I and I love Lincoln College Prep, my alma mater. I would highly consider coming here if
Yes.
I was a high school student again.
I love that. And I can testify to the energy and to the leadership of Guadalupe Charter Centers and just the mission and the vision. I was just all for it. Y'all need to invite me back. I don't know
Mm.
who we need to talk to. Maybe we could talk to your principal, Aguasi. But definitely. And it was funny because you and I had a conversation after that keynote, and I was just so grateful for your comments. And I was just so grateful to have inspired you. And that's really what it's all about, like community, collective agency,
Mm.
coming together. And I love what you said, and I want to highlight that. You said that you're protecting the space. And you know what? We need more protectors of the classroom space like never before. And I like to say that I'm personally a guardian of culture. Okay. And we definitely need to protect those spaces. We need to have them be as inclusive as possible. We need to have them be as safe as possible. And we need to be able to amplify the cultural landscapes of our students that are in front of us. How do we do that? We can do that by what you're doing, meeting your students halfway, showing empathy, negotiation. Look, teaching is a lot about negotiating. I negotiate with my kids all the time. And some folks might not like that as a best practice, but let me tell you, has anyone in your life given you a second chance? Has anyone in your life cut you a break? And more often than not, that snaps us back and says, okay, look, I got a second chance here. I'm not about to mess this up. And more often than not, I have seen my students bounce back when I meet them right where they are and they're in shock. Like, are you really going to give me another shot? Yes, I am. Since I say it's very late, but I understand that you're going through a situation and you haven't been able to sleep and you've been exhausted coming to my class, worried, anxious, tired. And so we're going to have a conversation after you finish, but just right now, breathe and I got you. Let's just work this out. Work out your home situation. We'll talk a little bit later about it. I'll check back in. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what our kids need. And how much more effective are we oftentimes when we look like them, right? When we can speak their language, when
Or
we can
yeah,
allow them to speak in whatever language, right? For us, it's Spanish. It does something and it does create that sense of protection and that engagement that you were talking about.
yeah. Um, man, I could take this conversation many routes. Pero like yeah, like you could just look at a student and give them a look and be like, I know what you're going through. You know, you don't gotta
Mm,
explain it. I know how it is. whether you
Mm,
have to pick up a second job to help bills at home, with,
that's right.
or like you're just the growing up you have to do in our culture. I could
Right.
relate to. Um, but then even small little picky things, um, like an accent or a Spanglish,
Mm,
forgetting
mm.
word. Uh, Recently, I had a student say, "Mister, you have an accent." I'm like, don't we all? Like, I don't. It just felt so good saying that to that one student because she was like, "Yep, I got an accent too." I guess her face said that to me. So,
I love that. And there's that common ground and there's that reciprocity of understanding, that culturally responsiveness that you had engaged with your student and how that made your student feel. Yeah, man, like they really are impacted when they're able to be their authentic selves, when they see us be our own authentic selves. I mean, it really creates those memories in the classroom that are out the box and that are not common. And that's what we're after. We want to create moments in our classrooms where our students are going to be like, dang, like we had that heartfelt conversation about accents and like, and you know what? Like that meant something to me because my family has accents. I have an accent, or my father has an accent, whatever, right? And that common ground. Let me ask you this: what school year is for? Is this your first year or second year?
it I count it as my first legit school year.
Okay,
Um, last in At the start of last school year, so in fall of 2022, I was finishing up my graduate program. I was student teaching, and I was student teaching at the elementary level. Eh, at spring of 2023, I left my position, like it was mine, the job, that my placement continued, the school I was at, and it it wasn't the right fit for me. Like
okay.
the and it was a very tough choice. I was also going through a lot of other things personally and mentally. Eh, I told myself stepping away from the profession is momentarily, but it's the
Mm,
best thing I could do to ensure I will return to it.
yeah.
And it was very heartbreaking because I already built connections from kids ranging from kindergarten to sixth grade, and it was just hard because it was like my first rodeo at this teaching thing, and I during that winter break between the semester, it felt so good, Sophia. I knew the back,
Mhm.
being with my family and being able to breathe because it got real fast, you know.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it gets real. It gets
and
real.
and I told myself the I knew in the back of my head I was gonna have to step away
Mm.
to be able to return to it.
And I just want to let you know in front of the listening audience how much respect I have for you for doing that. There's something that I really want to bring to the federal level and just continue to travel the country with, and that's the message of like teacher trauma and just like the need for constant healing and constant like recharging and revitalization and tending to what I call your injuries. Whether your career is causing your injuries or whether you have your own personal injuries, because we're people too. Teachers are humans too, and we come with our own lived experiences and our own traumas and all of it, right? And it takes someone with courage to really step away and to evaluate and to pause. And that's part of the message that I brought to you before y'all started the school year. You've got to tend to your injuries. You've got to heal. Because if you're injured, then I'm injured, and we can't be injured together if we're going to continue this work. Come on now.
The
And so,
I got you on that. And it's been coming back to the forefront, in whether it's a given lesson or interaction with a student, is becoming more forward and kind of my core pillars for teaching, which is what you said at the convocation, transforming trauma. Like
mm, Oh, that's music not to my ears, but my heart.
There is it's important to distinguish traumatic experiences and people with unresolved trauma and the nitty gritty of that. But nevertheless,
Mm,
it's there, and yeah, you gotta transform that shit. So
you better believe it. Come on now, because si no, olvídate. You will stay there, and oftentimes we end up in there, obviously, from a metaphorical standpoint. Um, but we do. It's from trauma to transformation. That's actually the title of my keynote that I've been traveling with, that you were a part of, and I'm just dropping it here because you got to say stuff out loud, Daniel. I want to
yeah.
write a book
Oh,
about
yeah.
it. I do. I want to write a book about it. I've been sitting on a memoir for a minute and just all my lived experiences and the research and all my journey. And I'm entertaining the idea of calling it From Trauma to Transformation. This is our call to action, because I really feel such a social and civic responsibility to heal as many educators and stakeholders in the education space as I can, because y'all are renegades and so important and critical, to the K through 12 and even post-secondary space. Um, you've got your friend coming through here talking about it be them same teachers who test you to your limits, but love you for who you are. I love that, Nabil. Yes. And we call that high expectations. Because guess what? We will love you. We will meet you where you're at, but we will not lower our expectations. Why? Because we see and acknowledge the potential in all of our students, regardless of performance, regardless of attendance. We just got to see what oftentimes the kids can't see, right? And that's to pull it out with those high expectations. That's right. You got to lean in sometimes, um, for our students to move ahead. But as we're talking about early teachers, right? I have this other quote from an article that I read called "Early Career Teacher Retention Intention." Mira, individual school and country characteristics, published by Science Direct. And one of the quotes that I found really fascinating was this: the attrition rates are typically high during the first 5 years of teaching. However, this phenomenon, known as early career teacher attrition, varies strongly between countries. Some countries seem to experience epidemic proportions for ECT attrition. A study from the US, for example, shows, so we're taking it to the US, shows that 45% of teachers leave the profession within the first 5 years. Okay. And so that's why early, the first five are what I call the formative years in education. You either gonna stick this out or you are gonna bounce out, because teaching is hella hard. And if you want to do it the right way, it's gonna take everything that you got. And so, what are your thoughts on that? That's a high number. And this was in the 2018-2019 school year. 45% of teachers left the profession within the first 5 years. Damn, that's almost half.
Damn, indeed. Mm, I mean, you said in 2019, Sophia,
Yeah, 2018-2019 school year. Uh-huh.
is it's not a good number, but it's the truth, right? And it's
Mm,
because there's problems that the whole discussion of standardized testing and how much do we value critical thinking, and like are
mm,
we promoting schools to be a space just um in a very like normative way, like here's your role, go into it, these are the areas you can do,
right,
your
right.
grades represent you, your self-esteem will
Mm,
be hit in all these different ways. So like it, the idea of flipping the tables, what does
yeah.
it mean to be a teacher, what does it mean to be a student, and taking it back to his roots, you
Mm,
know I'm shout out my schools. We instructional coaches.
Nice.
He told me um what he really likes about me is rely on like what's the virtue you're trying to get at. You know,
Mm,
what is that virtue that you won't unwaver from?
mm,
So it could be the virtue of listening, the virtue of um, not giving up, persisting. You know,
persisting.
in something new, and there's always something you can look at from that from a good angle, and so like we're teaching that to our students indirectly. We're teaching them self-esteem, and then along with that, all these standards and things that we have to keep up with.
Right,
They're fun, can be fun. I'm getting my digging into those things.
right.
That'll like it's good to learn things with the students. That's what I've been relying on. Like I'm not gonna have things down to a T these first couple years. So I mean, like this situation, this space for me is only gonna help me. Uh,
Mm,
the support you have at your school. So like you're immersed right now, right, with the new initiatives for teaching in general at the federal and state level,
hmm.
and so it's teachers that need to be at the forefront for that, right?
Come on.
Like in my head, I'm already thinking about schools need um, a lot of instructional coaches. Uh,
Yes.
I forgot who told me it was like plumbers, electricians. Their first couple years in that profession, they're like journeymen, and there's like a master person they're learning from. Like we should take that kind of be inspired by that, and
Absolutely.
as as a beginning teacher, my first 5 years, I should continually be a learning educator, right? Have
Mm.
a go-to mentor in the profession.
I love that. And everything that you're saying just resonates. And I'll tell you a little secret, Daniel. You'll never really have it together. I'm 15 years in, and I still learn from my students every single year. I'm still making mistakes in front of them. Those are the best ones, right? Like when you make them in front of them, whether it be your technology, whether it be your project, and you got to backtrack and you got to say, my bad, I'm sorry. I've had so many students like, Mrs. G, you're wanting us to access this program, but it's locked and it says ask your teacher for permission. And I'm like, really? I am so sorry. Okay, let me go back to my computer real quick. And they're all waiting for me, like, can we get this together? As just an example, right? And but if there's one thing that I want to reiterate and I want to amplify right now that you just said, that is advocacy and advocating for yourself and having systems of support. I've been leaning on my instructional coaches forever. I lean on veteran teachers often. And now that I have all these national networks, you better believe I'm jumping in Zoom calls with my directors and former mentors. And I'm just like, I just need your ear. What do you think of this? Can I process with you? Can you be my thought partner? And there's such a power in that, right? We often think that we need to be in isolation and that we need to figure this out on our own. And sometimes teaching can isolate you and you feel like, dang, I'm working in silo here because I got to get to the end of this unit. I got to get to this standard, like you say. I have benchmarks to meet. Like I've got to get to this last piece of my curriculum to close out to start this new unit, right? And it can really be overwhelming. And that's one thing that I really advocate on so many levels is speaking up for yourself and really reaching out because that's what they're there for. We have so many systems that are in place at the building level, from instructional coaches to our school leadership, principal, vice principal, or assistant principal, and so many other leadership roles. I be knocking on everybody's door. That I miss G, you again? Yes, it's me again. I just have a question or I have an idea and I want to run it by you. I'm going to apply for this grant. I want to know if you're down or not because it's going to take us Zooming with Iraq and Iran and it's an in-school field trip and I don't even know. So just let me know, right? And it's just leaning on your support and collective agency is very powerful. You do not want to do this by yourself. It is something that you need to do collectively often for the sake of our students, right? Which I think is just so critical. I'm going to go sappy now. We're heading towards the end here. But I wanted to ask you, what's your vision, right? Like, I know your first year. I know that you're just early on in the game, but do you have a vision at all professionally? Or do you just want to say, hey, I just want to get with this classroom teaching and just really hone in on my skills and best practices and love on the kids and learn from the kids as well? Or do you have a dream, right? Do you have a dream to one day enter school leadership or do some work like I'm doing outside the building? Tell us what your thoughts are.
Thank you for giving me the space right here. I love the questions. I want to quickly say that our lovely background noise is the joy of kids who stayed after school. So I don't know if
Oh,
you've been, but for me, it's just music to my ears.
yep. I already knew that those were the babies in the hallway doing something, whether it's an after school club or they're hanging out. Ya yo lo sé.
Say,
Sigue.
um, well, for this, by the end of this school year, I want to feel like I've found my rhythm,
Mm,
and what I mean by that is like I'm comfortable with lesson planning. I'm comfortable with
yeah.
some days the kids are gonna have to pick me up, right? Some days I might just be a little extra and feel more performative and really liven up my lectures and I do and then we do kind of days
Mhm.
and just build community like you said, those moments that students remember.
Yeah, man.
um, yeah, like, man, I miss Mr. G's art room and
Mm,
how-
mm,
and what I was able to do, and that's something I've been dealing with. um oh man, when I was in high school, I was ready to take on the world, and not necessarily that I can't do that, but just that feeling because I was empowered because I had the support from my educators, my teachers, and also um, I had those wins under my belt.
mm.
Like, I've done this, I could do this again. It could be bigger. Like, it could reach more people. I could,
Yeah.
in the case for making art, like I could try new medium and tell this story and yeah, just the potential. Like, I
Yeah,
really
man.
want kids to remember me in the best of light.
I love that. I love that as like your goals. And I love that they call you Mr. G. See, isn't that something cool? Like to be a G for real. Okay. Seriously. Like that is like literally my alter ego. So I love that.
Yeah.
That they call you Mr. G.
You got an
And
alter you have an
what?
alter ego too?
Yes, I do. Oh my gosh. Yes, I do. And you saw just a glimpse of it. Back before the start of the school year. Like that's what I'm on when I pop up into the Miss G persona. And it's like all day is a switch. You gotta turn it off for me to switch out because it's just like guns blazing.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and this is um, just my recommendation and just something for you to stew on. Art is such an opportunity to really introduce your students, and maybe you have on so many levels, to some of those critical issues that I think come naturally to you. man, of justice, of reform, of racial equity, of, you know, some of these issues that our students are like way more woke on than we are. Art can be such an opportunity for expression, to disrupt, right? To disrupt your average curriculum. You have an opportunity to possibly meet with other outside organizations that focus on art and murals and like just really like that lane of artistry. Tagging, man, I have so many taggers and they just love graffiti. They love, you know, tagging. And I still have portraits that some of my students made because I used to teach. This is a fun fact, and I think you'll dig it. I used to teach an art and literature class, and I had to create it from scratch because it didn't even like exist. And I called it Journey Through Art and Literature. And we studied some of the greats, man, like taking them back to Monet, you know, having them look at Frida's work and just some local artists I was able to bring in, and Salvador Dali. They really like Salvador Dali, playing around with that surrealism, the melting clock, right? And they're like, "Dad, what's that we see?" And I'm like, "Man, this is like a juxtaposition of thought right here. Like, what do y'all think?" And just adding poetry to stuff. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm totally off task. Pero art is like the bomb medium, and it's such an opportunity to really impact your students and allow them deep levels. I'm talking deep levels of expression. And I'm sure that you're tapping in and that you'll go further with your instructional coaches and tap into Guadalupe Centers as a whole. Y'all are very tapped into your communities. Like, ask for resources. If I were you, I'd be like asking for all kind of resources, because that's a cool opportunity right there, man.
Yeah, it's thank you. Recognizing the arts as for what it is, truth, potential for truth, illuminating truth, and
I see.
and
Qué rico.
we're part of it. You know, we're creating it. We're creating works that provide truth, and for me, I tell my kids that's godlike. You know, that's stuff you're doing right there. You know, and yeah, just thank you. You know, recognize arts.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, the arts have such a special place in my heart as an English teacher, as a poet, as a communicator. Man, I just have such a special place in my heart. And for student art, oh my gosh, I go bananas. And I've got some really great artwork that I've had for over a decade. And they're like relics to me, what my students have created. Anyways, again, that's a whole other side conversation. But I really expect great things to come out of your classroom. And so we've got to stay in touch, and you've got to let me know how I can help you once I jump in with the U.S. Department of Education, to make sure that you've got some resources and some connections. That would be like so super dope.
Will do. Yeah, I'm gonna keep you in mind, and the same here. You know, if you need something else, a student work of mine, and you want to showcase it, I don't know,
But yeah, I think there's some potential there.
You have the creative juice, and I'm here to support you if you need anything, whether it's from my students or me. Okay.
I love that. Thank you. So now we're going to pivot towards the end. We are nearing towards the end. Thank you, friends, for staying on with us and for hearing our conversation as we journey through what it's like to be an early career teacher and chat it up on the world of education and all things teaching. But we're going to add in a little bit. I definitely have something here that will be kind of cool. So I'm going to go into what I call fill in the blanks. And so this is something that you don't really have to think about too much, right? Got a little bit of music, something going on. Let's see if I can hear it. I'm trying to hear my music. All right. Fill in the blanks time with Mr. G and Mrs. G. What's up? Oh man, see, look, they ain't even ready for us. They thought they were ready for us, but then they just got their minds blown by the double G factor. All right, fill in the blanks for me. What I really desire for the rest of the school year is Were you able to hear me, Daniel?
Manda? What's up?
Were you able to hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You want me to fill in the blanks?
Yeah, so just say it out loud. What I desire for the rest of the school year is, and then you tell me, is what?
Funk.
Funk. Okay, because you're going to have to explain that.
I don't want to.
He said, nope. Y'all just going to have to leave it right there. He said funk. I want funk for the rest of the school year. Okay. He's going to get funky with the kids, and they're going to just blow out the whole world of art and just become some artists. What early career teachers need right now is fill in the blank.
Repeat that one for me.
What early career teachers need right now is
advocacy.
I love that. And you know what? I got you. I'm on mission literally for that advocacy. I love it. I got you. Last fill in the blank, and then we'll go into what I call rapid fire. And I'll explain that in a second. I want my students to leave classroom year 3.
Empowered. Yeah, you know that. I feel like you like that one.
I do. I'm definitely here for it. Definitely here for it. I think we got some more comments here. Let's see. Daniel, I need to be in your classroom, boy. Okay, yes. Thanks
what?
for being. No.
What Nabil needs to do is follow up to meet when we say we're gonna meet up together.
Oh, see, he kind of just puts you on blast a little bit, pero y'all need to connect. See, he wants to link up. See, that's the problem.
I get it. That's good life today. Oh, I'll get back to you. Okay. We'll see.
We are end here. I'm going to try to find here my rapid fire. And this is rapid fire is where I ask you this or that. So I have like little categories, and I'll ask you, do you prefer this or that? And then because it's rapid fire, you can't really think too much. You just gotta like say it, right? Like, would you rather kind of thing?
Gotcha.
All right, but we're gonna have to change this sound up again. We're gonna see if we can liven it up a little bit. Let's see if this sounds fine. Vamos a ver. Hey. All right, let me get my rapid fire out here. All right, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna go towards Santos. That's too loud. I'm over here popping like it's a party. I'm sorry. All right, so we're gonna start with sports, okay? Kansas City Royals or Kansas City Monarchs?
Royals.
You like Royals, right? Yeah, Royals, right? Okay, because I had to look up who the Monarchs were. I was like, I don't know too many Kansas City Chiefs.
On my birthday, September 15th, my school provided. Was it my school? Yeah, it was the school. Tickets to the Royals, and I took my family out. And in front of me, after we sat down, was one of my students I have in first period.
Yes, I love that. When you run into them, you're like, hey, that's awesome. Okay, just in general sports, still in the sports category, basketball or football?
Basketball.
Basketball all day. Okay, for us back here in Chicago, last night was the Bulls opening season game, and we didn't do too well, pero still we got much love for the Reds.
The team had a all players meeting after that loss. So their spirit with the Bulls is so far for them to hold a meeting player led.
Wow. Well, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a tough season. Let's see if we can get some chemistry. Super Bowl or World Cup? Last one in the sports category.
That's an easy one. Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. I'm not much of a football watcher. I kind of feel like I don't understand what's going on at the time. Like they're throwing flags and everybody's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I get the yardage and all that, but I'm gonna need some support on that one. Okay. All right. So now we're going into the music category. Tell me which one you would lean into. Peso Pluma or Bad Bunny?
Puro doble P. Peso Pluma.
Peso Pluma, mira pa allá, and Bad Bunny's busting out with his next tour. Okay. Salsa or mariachi?
Mariachi.
Mariachi, ¿verdad? Porque ustedes son de México. Okay. Yeah. And then me, I'm kind of confused because I'm a Mexican, so I'm like, can I like both, or is that a problem? Okay. Karol G or Alicia Keys?
Alicia Keys. And she.
Okay, yes. I see that. I feel that. Okay. Last category here, and then we'll go into what I call the justice category. Food categories next. Tacos or tortas?
Torta.
Really? Pero dime por qué.
I've been craving tortas ahogadas de Jalisco.
Ajá.
My mom knows how to make them. I'm like,
whoa.
I'll take you to the store and buy you the stuff.
Hey, that sounds good.
Be in the kitchen and help her.
Wow. Okay, fair. I mean, if mommy can make it good, then I can see. Okay. Quesadillas or flautas?
Quesadillas. I love my dad's burnt quesadillas.
Burnt quesadillas? What?
Yep.
Burnt them on the comal, okay?
Oh, not on purpose.
Oh, that's cute. I love that. Okay, last one in the food category. Churros or flan?
Churros.
Mm.
Churros.
And I'm like a very classic girl with the churros. I don't like all the fancy fillings. Plain is fine because they're like already sugary, and when they come out warm, like I don't even think they need anything else. And you know they got all those flavors now, right? They stuff them with chocolate, de fresa.
Vanilla. Yeah, vanilla.
Vanilla. I don't even need all that. I mean, the churro in its original state is like divine. Okay. All right, justice. This is what I call the justice category, right? Because we're thinking like outward, we're thinking the world. All right, what the world needs most right now is truth or justice. In light of all our happenings, right?
We've been saying truth a lot, but it will have to be justice.
We need justice. We need what is just, what is true, what is right. I feel that. And here's the last one. What I want to offer the world first is love or grace. What would you want to offer the world as your offering?
Grace. Grace.
I love that.
Grace. Grace.
And we were talking about that, right? How how our students respond to grace and all of that amazingness. So I love that. And right now, with so much suffering going on in the world, grace is definitely needed. We've got one shout out chat from Latinx Education Collaborative, who's tuning in. The double G's, y'all so dope. Thank you for everything you do. Igualmente, the LEC community is definitely doing some incredible things in the K through 12 space, amplifying the Latinx teacher and really providing supports and opportunities for K through 12 teachers to thrive. And now it's national, and we are definitely here for it. Mr. G, we have come to the end, and I am so proud of you. Yes, you got the LEC. That's right. What's that? A sticky notes or a sticker? Okay. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your time. I know it's kind of wild after school. Tired is real. Okay, it's real.
You gotta do some of that. Yep.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And so go get some hydration, go get some protein, go get some rest, and do something that fuels you, Daniel, so that your kids can get the best version of you first thing tomorrow morning. So I thank you so much. You were like so awesome, and hope to stay in touch. Consider a resource. Know that I always got your back, man.
Yep. Thank you for being dope and authentic to yourself, and you're leading the way, and yeah, we'll be in touch. Thank you, Sofia, and everyone in
touch.
Yep.
Yes. Hasta pronto. Adelante. We see you. We're for you. We got you. And you are definitely today's agents of change. So thank you for the work that you're doing with your students. And long live the arts. Come on now. Long live it. Que vive the arts. A siempre. Hasta pronto.
Adiós. Hasta.
And so listen, we really had such a robust conversation, and I'm just excited to be in this space all over again. And I just wanted to end this last segment with what I call Sofia Speaks. Man, I remember what it was like being an early career teacher. I remember the thrill, but also the chill. I can recall the terror and yet joys of everyday teaching and walking into the unknown from bell to bell. I remember being both scared and confident, determined yet dipped underneath the ocean of work attitudes, gratitudes, and a calling. Some may argue that it's a career, not a calling. I do my job and clock out. Yet for the other ones, the soldiers, the renegades who masquerade this idea that education is activism and we are the ones that we are waiting for, I argue in the first 5. You determine that. Some leave, but some stay and play with the idea of good trouble, some necessary trouble. I am she, you are he. So to all my EDU justice warriors, I see you, I feel you, and I am with you. And till next time, please, and I say please, keep shining.